The founder of Foundr from Down Under will take you over the top. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the 186th episode of the Inbound Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Last week, we heard from Angelique Brewers. She is the powerful owner of The Corporate Agent. I met her in person at the Infusionsoft Partner Conference back in November 2015. And I was just impressed with her from the beginning. We hung out, with dinner, went to lunch, picked her brain, got to know her, and I knew I had to have her on the Sales Podcast. Took us a couple of times, had to reschedule just due to life and business getting in the way, but she is worth the wait. You can hear the notes and see the notes, hear the interview at thesaleswhisperer.com/session185. And she really changed my mind on going after corporate clients, larger corporate clients versus the smaller privately owned businesses that I've really focused on since 2006, 2007. So I will continue to do that, but I am going to add a little more emphasis, a little more focus on going after some of the bigger fish. It's a big industry, lots of money, and it is certainly worth some of your time and energy. As is today, we've got Mr. Nathan Chan. He's the founder of Foundr magazine, thus the name on the intro. Nathan's a great guy. I'm looking forward to meeting him actually here immediately after this episode. I'll be seeing him at the Social Media Marketing World 16 event. And I love this guy's hustle, his honesty, sincerity. He talks about how he just got after it. He went out on a limb. He took a chance. He had a vision. He had a passion. He had the drive. And he made it happen. So you're going to love this interview. Now, if you need some help getting that fire back, finding the spark, finding that vision, clarifying the vision, maybe you have that vision and you're not sure, though, of the steps you need to take and you want to surround yourself with other like-minded, motivated entrepreneurs, check out the5.us. It's a new program I'm offering. Jim Rohn talked about you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. So that's the idea. Come hang out with 5 other entrepreneurs and myself. And so sure, that would be 6 people, but I'm going to be guiding the 2.5 days here, helping you really find that clarity, find the vision, and execute. It's not just about dreaming. If you've listened to me at all, you know I'm all about, like Roy Williams says, pull the trigger and ride the bullet. Take action, right? Gary Halbert says motion beats meditation. You can't steer a parked car. So this is not a kumbaya. This is get some clarity, take some action. Like I said, it's 2.5 days. Once you pay for for your seat, everything's covered, okay? The room, the food, the entertainment. So again, check out the5.us and come on down. Now let's bring on our guest, Mr. Nathan Chan. Nathan Chan, all the way from Australia. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
I'm great, thanks, Wes. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Hey, thanks for carving out a little time. Busy man. We had to schedule this out a few weeks, but, it was worth the wait, huh?
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm glad we can finally have a chance to catch up.
So I ran across you, I don't even know where. I mean, you're killing it on Instagram. I think I heard you on a podcast. Who knows, man? But I was intrigued at the explosive growth that you've experienced through that. But for our listeners that may not know who you are, would you mind taking a minute or two and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive down the rabbit hole?
Yeah, sure thing. My pleasure. So I run a digital media company called Foundr, and I started exactly 3 years ago from my bedroom while I was working my day job. And it started because I guess I wanted to read a magazine that really touched me, someone that was an aspiring novice stage entrepreneur that didn't know anything about business. And yeah, pretty much I just went out and created that magazine for myself. And I identified that there wasn't a publication in the marketplace that really targeted young, aspiring, novice, early-stage startup founders and entrepreneurs. So we didn't launch as a print magazine. We launched as a digital magazine. And in the past 3 years, we've built up that brand Foundr to service over 1 million plus entrepreneurs across all of our assets and channels. And we've become much more than just a digital magazine, a monthly publication. We've got a podcast. We've got high traffic social channels, a rocking blog, and now we're starting to get into educational training products as well. So, yeah, that's us. I guess we're a multifaceted entrepreneurship brand, and along the way, we've interviewed, some super successful entrepreneurs. Pretty much all the biggest rock stars in our industry, like Richard Branson, Ariana Huffington, Damon John, Seth Godin, Barbara Corcoran. The list really goes on. So that's me in a nutshell, man. 100% bootstrapped startup, first-time entrepreneur, and loving the journey.
So wait a minute, who died and made you king? Who gave you permission to go launch your own magazine, man? Who the heck do you think you are?
Man, I'm just a dude that just was working in a day job that I just literally, utterly hated so much. And I knew that there was so much more to life, and I knew that I had so much more purpose, and I was looking for something. I didn't know what it was, didn't know that I was going to become an entrepreneur. I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur meant probably 5 years ago. No, probably about 10 years ago, and just kind of fell into it, and just out of sheer frustration. So I had to give myself permission to do that.
So I love that last part there. I gave yourself permission. But I mean, what makes you different, right? I mean, why did you succeed? Because there are so many people. I would argue most people. Was it Thoreau? I think it was Thoreau said, most men lead lives of quiet desperation. I mean, most people hate where they are, hate what they're doing, and either don't venture out, or those that do, we hear all the statistics. 80% of businesses fail within 5 years. Blah blah blah. And do you even know? I mean, do you know your secret sauce? Why did you A, succeed, and B, succeed so spectacularly so quickly?
I think it's a combination of things, Wes. I think the first thing is I just work extremely fucking hard, dude. And I found something that I love.
Wait a minute. You said you work hard? Okay, I thought you had the easy button. We're gonna have to end this podcast. Every time I hear somebody say they work hard, I just hit end on that interview, because I only want the get rich quick, easy button, silver bullets. I mean, okay, yeah. I thought you were like good, man. Oh, I gotta vet my guests better. Good grief. Well, you know what? It took time, so go ahead and finish your sentence. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, look, it's a combination of things. I found something I love. I have an absolute obsession with what I do. I've got a loving girlfriend that I've been with for 4 years, but I'm not married. I don't have kids. Now's the best time in ever of my life, because I've reached a certain level of maturity to build and grow a successful company. I'm not too young and I'm not too old, and I'm fearless. I am definitely scared of things, but I'm always open to pushing my comfort zone. I surround myself with just absolute weapon entrepreneurs. Then, some build $100 million plus dollar companies, and I'm obsessed with learning, and I'm obsessed with growth. And if you wrap all of those things into a package, that is who I am, man. And that is why I've been able to get Foundr to where it is today. But by no means do I think that I've made it, or by no means do I think that I'm the best in the world or anything of the sorts. It's just a combination of all those things, Wes. And I feel like I'm only really scratching the surface with what's possible.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. How how did you have the guts or the insights, to reach out? Because Richard Branson was your first guest, right? Or your first interview?
No. He was on issue number 8.
8, okay. Who was number? Well, even number 8 is fast. I mean, for a startup and a digital startup at that, to get somebody of his caliber. Most people would say it's kind of the chicken and the egg. Oh, once I have 1 million followers, then I can get Richard Branson. And you were like, well, if I get Richard Branson, I'll get 1 million followers, right?
Yeah, I never even really thought that far ahead, Wes, to be honest with you, man. Like, even when I pitched Richard Branson, I was still in my day job. I don't even, to be honest with you, even know if I was thinking that I could leave my day job. To be honest, when I started the magazine, one of the reasons I started the magazine was because I was trying to get out of what I was doing. I was working in IT, and I wanted to move into marketing, and no one would give me a job. So I remember even I had a job interview for a marketing role, and I was doing this. I was working on the magazine, and I actually took my iPad to the job interview and showed them the magazine. Just said, like, this is what I'm working on the side for fun. And I just really didn't know how far I could take it. I really didn't know that that doing a magazine would have so much credibility and influence that I could get in touch with people like Richard Branson. I just took it one step at a time, and I was kind of like just trying to seek out, what the business model looked like, because I didn't even know yet, Wes. Like, I had no idea. So the way I got in touch with Richard Branson was I made a lot of phone calls, and I ended up tracking back his head of PR. And the thinking there was that Richard Branson has been on the front cover of every single business magazine, like every big business magazine, or pretty much all business magazines on the planet. So why couldn't he be on the front cover of Foundr? And that was kind of the thinking. So within the first 4 months, I put so much emphasis on trying to get an interview with him. I found this head of PR, and I pitched her. And then from there, I just pitched, and I didn't even think it would happen. I remember I was stumbling, and I spoke to her, and she was just like, "You've got 2 minutes. I'm just about to jump on the tube in London." And I told her, my pitch, and she's like, "How long have you been around for?" And I was like, about like 4 months. And she's like, "Oh my God, you guys are so new." And I was just like, yeah. And she's just like, "Okay, well, just send me an email. I promise that I will get back to you. I just don't know when." And I shot her an email, and I pitched for a Skype interview, and she said that Sir Richard Branson is quite busy flying, as you can imagine, and he's got a lot going on, but he's happy to do an email interview. And I took that and I ran with it. And and then we turned that into a front cover story with him, and worked with the Virgin team to get a whole ton of photos and stuff like that, and come up with a story and an angle. And then from there, dude, the rest is history. And we've kind of been, I guess, writing that and playing on that social proof card for a long time, which has been ridiculous amount of leverage for us to build a lot of influence in the marketplace, and for us for people to take our brand seriously.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're an IT guy. You got a day job. How did you start to fulfill on this magazine, right? I mean, did you have any journalism or writing background? Did you outsource it? Did you bring in partners? It's those details that people trip over, and I think that keeps them from launching.
So to produce the magazine every month, I have to be very, very clear. It's a 50 to 70 page publication. We have 3 to 4 feature stories, feature interviews, and we have, 6 to 8 regular articles. And to produce that content, I don't do any writing, I don't do any design, and I don't do any editing anymore. But back in the early days, I used to edit the magazine, and I used to pay contractor writers, and I used to beg people and find people to write for me for free, and I used to do these interviews. And, it was a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of working late, and starting early in the morning and working on my lunch breaks, and just a ridiculous amount of hustle, man, because I wanted it really, really badly. And I think what kept me going back in the early days, Wes, was, in the first day that we launched the magazine, we had 2 subscribers and we made $5. And knowing that those 2 people, then at the end of the month I had maybe 50 subscribers. Like, just knowing that people were paying and they were paying a monthly subscription to expect a publication every single month from Foundr, I couldn't let those people down, no matter how small or how many people there were, even if it was one person. I had to ship it every single month. And me as a person, I don't like to let people down. So knowing that, I just didn't let them down, and I just shipped every single month. And that was one of the best lessons that I ever got from, I guess, running Foundr, and that's just the power of shipping and moving fast and speed and the power of deadlines. So knowing that allows us to move as fast as possible, because we've built up within the team a shipping engine where we can move so extremely fast, and speed is our number one. Like, that's all we care about. Like, we don't ship crap, and we don't put out things that are crap. We have a very high attention to detail, but we want to simplify things and cut them down as much as we can so we can move as fast as possible. So back in the early days, I had a graphic designer that was in India. His name was Karen, and I still work with Karen till this day, and he runs a design agency in India. So he did all the design stuff. I had a whole ton of writers. I was doing the editing. And my mum was helping me with the proofreading. And that's what the early days looked like.
Man, that's awesome. So why a digital magazine? I mean, everything's free on the internet, right? Even things that shouldn't be free are free on the internet. I'm sure people looked at you like, hey, you're crazy. I can read an article about Arianna Huffington or Sir Richard Branson online for free. Why am I going to pay you to get this content?
Yeah, so look, that's a great question. And I think there's something just so magical about content that is packaged up. Like, for example, have you heard of BellaBox, or these subscription boxes that package things up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why would you pay someone to collate and get that box every single month when you can go out and find those items yourself? So what people pay for when they pay for a monthly magazine, whether it's digital or print, is the ability to read solid information in a concise format packaged up in a presentable way. And that's all Foundr is, in the simplest form. So we obviously get exclusive stories, but at the end of the day, like you said, it is just information. Why do people buy courses, digital products for $2,000? Where it's stuff that you could probably, if you wanted to, find online for free. Why do people watch YouTube videos, which teaches you how to do something? However, you could go and buy a course that teaches you how to do something. So it comes back to trust. It comes back to packaging things up. It comes back to time. And if you can buy and sell time, you're in a good spot. And that's what Uber does. Uber sells time. So I guess that's what we're doing in a sense with the magazine. We're selling time, because that's time that people could be spending looking for stuff themselves, as opposed to just reading the magazine in digital form.
Right.
And Wes, I didn't know this. I want to be very, very clear. It might seem like when I'm giving you these answers that I had it all worked out, but I didn't. I just kind of run with it, dude. I didn't know whether a magazine would be successful. I didn't know that it would be super, super powerful in terms of building influence and a great way to build your brand. I didn't know that people would want to buy a magazine. I didn't know that people would, take our brand and our work seriously. But it just all happened, and it was just like one building block at a time, and I just kind of worked out along the way. But I hope that answers your question around why would someone pay for content which you could find on the internet for free.
Yep, that's awesome. Because that's what I always tell people is that, people will pay for exclusivity and for experience. They'll pay for convenience, and that's what you're giving them. That's awesome. So you're bumping along. You got 2 people, and you got 50 people. Where did the Instagram medium explode for you? Was that just something you were on and it happened to explode, or did you have a little more insight into that?
Yeah, so we've been on Instagram since November 2014. So that's been about 16 months. So we've been on Instagram for about 16 months. And in that space, we've built that from 0 to almost 700,000 followers. But what I think the most important thing to take away here is that channel has driven us hundreds of thousands of leads, millions of dollars, that channel. So that was something that I just stumbled across. So I haven't been on Foundr hasn't been on Instagram from the start that we started the magazine. I started the magazine March 5th, 2013, and we got onto the tail end of Instagram in November 2014, and the platform has been out for over 6 years now, 5-6 years. So we've only been on it for 16 months, and during that space, we've turned it into an absolute lead generation machine. But not only that, Wes, we've used it as a channel to really spread the message of our brand, which is, promoting entrepreneurship and helping serve entrepreneurs however we can. And that channel has, really, really been helping people in more ways than I ever thought would be possible. So that was something that we just stumbled upon. And once I found that channel and it really was helping explode things for the magazine, I just doubled down on it, and I still double down on it to this day. Now working on optimizing and capitalizing on other channels, but we still double down on Instagram flat out, man, and we will not stop.
So did anybody tell you that you misspelled Foundr? I mean, do you want me to go correct that for you? I mean, I got some white out, I'm it'll only be on my screen though, but I don't know. I can take a picture and send you. So why Foundr with no E?
The story there was when I first launched the magazine, dude, it actually wasn't even called Foundr. I was actually sued. So around the same time I got the interview with Richard Branson, I was sued for trademark infringement when the magazine was called something else by one of the biggest business magazines in the States. Now, I can't say who it was due to legal reasons, but I pretty much had to change the name of the business first 4 months in. And I remember looking for a different name. I remember saying to my friend, I was on Facebook Messenger, and I was saying to my friend, what do I change it to? Here's a whole ton of options. And, I said, there's actually no magazine called Foundr with the E, like Foundr with the E, like correct spelling. I said, there's no magazine called that. And he's like, what if you took out the E? That would be like so cool. And I was like, yeah, that is brilliant. Done. That's what we're going to call it, Foundr without the E. And I knew as well, if we removed the E, we would never be sued for trademark infringement again, especially when I snaffled up the trademark before I bought the domain.
Right.
But yeah, that's a whole nother story, dude. We don't have the foundr.com domain. Our domain is Foundr Mag. Right. And whole nother story there why we don't have it. Probably for another podcast, but that's another story. But Well,
just think, whenever you go to print, Your buddy is going to save you billions of dollars in ink by leaving out one letter in the name. So that he's like environmentally conscious. Right?
Yeah, I guess so. But to be honest, man, like, we'll never go to print.
When you make business cards, man, you're saving ink. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you write your business name out, he's saving you time by chopping that letter out. So that dude's a genius.
Yeah.
So you're hanging out with smart people.
Like that.
All right, sorry. Let's go back to Snapchat real quick, though.
Snapchat?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Instagram. I got Snapchat on the brain. How did you stumble upon that? And was it you? Was somebody else in your company say, hey, maybe we should look at this? Walk me through the iteration of let's create an account, and then what the heck do you even put up on there?
Yeah, so 16 months ago, I was still a solopreneur. We had many contractors, and I outsourced a lot of stuff, but it was just me. Now we have a lot of stuff, close to 10. But we're still quite a small team. But pretty much, I remember I was, was not long after I left my day job. So, it took me about a year to build up Foundr so I could leave my day job, replace operating costs, and pay myself a really small, measly wage. And, I was still finding my feet. It took me a few months. And then I was looking for a scalable channel because we didn't really have that. We did have one channel, and that was App Store SEO. So SEO in the App Store. That was doing well, but we needed another channel. And I guess, in all honesty, Wes, I really didn't feel like my hard work was paying off. We're making some money, but we weren't doing as well as I'd want. And still right now we're not doing as well as I want. But back then, I was just kind of scraping by, to be honest. Like, just, I was supporting myself, but I didn't build a business like, we were by far nowhere near being a multi-million-dollar company back then. So what happened was I was thinking of bringing on an intern, and I used this website called 99interns.com. I think they're just based in Australia. And they allow you to get university students to help you with stuff and bring on interns. So I was like, well, I can't afford to pay someone, so I'll bring on an intern. And part of that process was like, if I want to show someone something, my thing is to always do it first, unless it's with a skill set. Like, for example, if I'm looking for a graphic designer, I don't need to know how to design. But something like, working out how to grow a channel, like a social media channel, and marketing is my passion project, it makes sense for me to work it out first and then hand it over. So literally like a week before that intern was starting, so I found an intern, I had a few friends like that were crushing it on Instagram in the health and well-being niche. And they said, I don't think Instagram would work for Foundr. So I never did anything about it. And then, I had this intern coming on, and I thought, okay, well, maybe one of the things that I get this intern to do is just work out this Instagram thing, because, we should probably post on there. That's like what we're told to do, just like Facebook or Twitter. Let's just post on there. So I got on Instagram, and we had a few hundred followers because about a year before that I had another intern just doing some posting on there. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to try a couple of things that one of my friends recommended to me that was crushing it on Instagram. And I did a couple of posts, and I saw our sales spike in Google Analytics. And we made like an extra $200 or something in magazine subscriptions. And I was just like, whoa, we are onto something here. And then from that, I just went down this path of just battle testing, growth hacking, and just mastering that channel, dude. And now it's just become an absolute beast for us.
Yeah, I love it. So people tell you not to do something, and you listen to them. What the heck were you thinking, man?
Yeah,
But then you dove in. So, and that's cool. I mean, and that's honestly, if you look around at anybody that succeeded at anything, the old adage, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing poorly, right? Until you master it.
Yeah, that's right.
And you got to stick with it for a while. But I mean, it's awesome that you had the system in place, right? I mean, you had the website, you had the merchant account, you had the portal, you had the I'd imagine maybe a free subscription, as a lead magnet. So at least when you turned your marketing on, you could benefit from it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what else are you seeing that's working? Are you branching into other channels, or have you tested some that haven't worked?
Yeah, so it's funny that you say that, Wes, because I'm kind of thinking to myself these past few weeks is I'm very big on focus, right? And when I interviewed Gary Vee, I was like, yeah, okay, so we're crushing it on Instagram. We just keep doubling down on that, right? And he's just like, no, you need to master all the channels. And I had a little bit of a reaction to that, because sometimes I think when you see success in something, you can be complacent. You can become complacent, and
Absolutely.
You rest on your laurels.
Yep.
So now I'm just like I'm going to take stock, and I'm literally next week with the team, we're going to sit down and we're going to work on conquering another channel. Like, we do have other channels that are working quite well for us, like our podcast is a brilliant channel. Our blog is, a brilliant channel, like inbound marketing, content marketing, that is working very, very well for us. But like, we need to work, like Gary said, on mastering on the channels. So I think we're going to have a bit of play around with Pinterest, and we're going to have a bit of a play around with Snapchat. And from there, we will see how we go. But yeah, you can't rest on your laurels, dude. And you can't become complacent. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to work on mastering all those channels.
Yep. That's good. I mean, and it's hard advice, but it's the right thing, and I always tell people, look at McDonald's, look at the, U.S. Army, look at Coca-Cola. I mean, they're always changing their slogans, right?
Yeah.
An army, an army of one, be army strong, be all you can be. I mean, so if these big entities that are well known have to constantly iterate, then so do you and I, right?
That's right.
But it's tough. I mean, it's tough. You're right. I mean, you worked hard, right? You 3 years losing sleep, grinding it out. You're like, hey, I want to kick back a little bit, but it's dangerous.
Yeah, no, you can never be complacent, dude. You've always got to be on the move, and you've always got to know that somebody's coming to take it all away from you, man.
Yeah, you ever seen that picture, every day on the Serengeti or whatever, a lion wakes up and chases his prey, and the gazelle wakes up and runs from his prey. So, whether you're the prey or you're the attacker, you better be running.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right, dude.
Very cool, man. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your Tuesday, right? My Monday afternoon, and to share little words of wisdom. And as we hopped on here, you had a little free giveaway for our listeners, right?
Yeah. So, like, if you want to know more about this Instagram stuff, we did create a free in-depth ebook. There's a lot of quick wins in there. If you go to foundrmag, foundrmag.com/free, you can download it.
Very nice. And we will have those links in the show notes as well. And do you get over to the States at all?
Yeah, a little bit, man. I'll be in San Diego in 3 weeks for Social Media Marketing World.
Oh, very nice. Well, I'll be there. I'm leading a breakout session, so first round is on me, my friend.
Awesome. Look forward to catching up, bro.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on the Sales Podcast, man. It's been great.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Nathan did not disappoint, did he? If you've heard me interviewed and really listened to me for more than a handful of episodes, you've probably heard me talk about how I will always contradict myself when I'm giving advice, because there's always two sides to the coin, right? And the opposite of a profound truth is always another profound truth. And what I mean by that is, in Nathan's example, he had the intuition, he had the feeling, and he followed it. And that's a great way to go. But you know what? In your life, it may be great to sit down and plan things out and map them out. But, to a large degree, he did both. He had a day job. He kept that job until he was able to produce enough revenue, income, and he had things going before he left. And that's often very tough for people. And he's younger, in his 20s, and you can be very impatient when you're young. Heck, I just turned 46 and I'm still impatient. But I do have a little bigger vision and can sometimes be a little calmer in waiting for things to cook and to, reach their prime state so we're ready to launch. But hearing his story and seeing how, again, he had that vision, and he had a big vision. And I learned that when I was investing in real estate. It's easier to do a bigger deal than it is to do a small deal, right? I bought an apartment complex. It was easier to close on the apartment complex than on a dirty, ugly house, owned by a lady that was in over her head. She was really in a state of shock at how the market had turned down in Austin back in the early 2000s. And that house, actually, I didn't even get, because she was so stubborn, so hard-headed. So it's quite often easier to reach a bigger goal than a small goal. Okay, so dream big, aim high. But you always hear me say, I quote Roy Williams, pull the trigger and ride the bullet. And this guy dug in. If you remember the episode that I had with Jeremy Shapiro, he's the founder of FuseDesk, and I had him back on episode 183. He was kind of like Michael Dell. He was starting his computer business from his dorm room, and he hustled. He just passed out flyers, and he got business. Nathan did basically the same thing. He got started and he hustled. He worked hard for a couple of years, and now things are blowing up for him. Well over 1 million followers on social media. And with that type of following, you're going to drive leads. You're going to drive traffic to your website. You're going to drive business. So check out his free giveaway, okay? It's legit. He's the real deal. Like I said, I'm going to be hanging out with him in San Diego here shortly and looking forward to that. And that's the kind of thing, putting yourself out there like this with the podcast. It helps me meet interesting people. It helps me pick their brain, get insight I may not get. And then when we do run in the same circles, we have something to talk about. We can hang out. We can get to know each other even more closely. And it's a relationship that others won't have that are just showing up and trying to meet him for the first time. So figure out how to put yourself out there. Figure out how to get in front of your ideal prospects and customers and do it. Maybe it's Instagram. Maybe it's a podcast. Maybe it's direct mail. Regardless, you have to keep testing things and trying things. Like I said, this is the 186th episode. I've been doing this nonstop now for 2.5, almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years this summer. But I started in 2009 and got done, a dozen, maybe a little more. Episodes with a partner of mine, a good friend of mine, and it just didn't work out. We didn't have the vision. We didn't have the stick-to-itiveness for that podcast back then. And I'm kicking myself in the pants, because how much bigger would I be if I had started way back in 2009 and stuck with it? But hey, we learn, you can't look backwards unless that's the way you want to go. So you move forward. I did learn from it. I was able to launch this podcast much faster and more smoothly because of that experience. Live and learn, right? But again, pull the trigger, ride the bullet. You can get all the notes, the links, everything, the giveaway that Nathan talked about at thesaleswhisperer.com/session 186. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, if you need some help getting that vision, if you need some help pulling the trigger, if you need some help figuring out exactly how to grow your business, check out the5.us. You're going to come here to Southern California, hang out with me and 5 other motivated entrepreneurs, and we're going to get after it, helping you clarify that vision and make things happen. Once you secure your seat, everything is covered, okay? Once you get here, the hotel, the food, the entertainment, we're going to be hanging out, working, having fun, helping you grow. So it's the5.us. And if you like this episode, please leave a comment on the website, share it online, and please leave a 5-star review on iTunes. It is more important than you think. Thanks for listening, and sell different.